This video is not just a mere coincidence, it's a signal. And the fact that you're seeing it at this exact moment in this exact way is the first proof that what we're about to explore is real. This isn't just information, it's a synchronicity. And that single realization could change the way you experience your entire life. Because synchronicity is not luck, it's not randomness, it's not wishful thinking wrapped in coincidence. It's the universe revealing its structure, showing you through precise and meaningful events that reality is far more intelligent, interconnected, and responsive than you were ever taught. The traditional worldview tells us that life is linear, separate, and mechanical, that things happen in straight lines, that outcomes follow causes, that coincidence is meaningless. But if you've ever had a moment so perfectly timed it stopped you in your tracks, if you've ever thought of someone seconds before they called, seen the same numbers repeating again and again, or watched improbable patterns unfold with eerie precision, then you've already touched something deeper. You've stepped outside the surface layer of life into the realm of synchronicity. So what is synchronicity? At its core, synchronicity is the meaningful connection of events that appear unrelated in space and time, but that arrive together with such significance, such perfect timing, that they seem orchestrated by something beyond logic. It's when the inner world and the outer world align in a way that defies ordinary explanation. A dream you had manifests the next day. A book falls off a shelf containing the exact message you needed. You meet someone by chance who shifts the course of your entire path. These aren't just lucky breaks. They're not just weird coincidences. They're part of the hidden architecture of reality. And once you begin to understand how that architecture works, you'll never look at life the same way again. Synchronicity is not random, it's structural. It's built into the foundation of consciousness itself, a nonlinear connective tissue between the invisible and the visible, between mind and matter, between thought and event. It reveals that reality is not a dead machine, but a responsive interface. And the key to that interface is meaning. That's why synchronicities feel different. They don't just surprise you, they mean something. Even if you can't explain why, you feel it. They arrive with an emotional signature, a sense of aliveness, a moment of recognition that cuts through the noise of ordinary life. This concept was brought to the surface most famously by the Swiss psychologist Carl Jung. Jung defined synchronicity as a causal connecting principle, a type of connection between events that doesn't follow a traditional chain of cause and effect, but still carries deep meaning. He proposed that certain patterns in our lives emerge not because one thing causes another, but because both events are linked by the symbolic architecture of the unconscious mind. Carl Jung saw synchronicity as the interface between the personal unconscious and the collective unconscious, a bridge between our internal symbolic world and the shared reality we experience with others. He believed that archetypes, fundamental images or energies that live deep in the psyche, act as organizing principles that shape the way synchronicities emerge. Imagine the archetype of the wise old man. You might be wrestling with a decision, unsure of your next move, and suddenly encounter a stranger who says something so direct, so personally meaningful, it's as if they've read your thoughts. This person becomes a vessel for the archetype. The moment becomes charged, meaningful, impossible to ignore. That's not cause and effect, that's synchronicity. And it's shaped by deeper psychic patterns running underneath the surface of reality. In this sense, synchronicity doesn't come from outside you. It arises from within and meets you in the external world. It is the unconscious mind projecting itself onto the screen of reality in such a precise and emotionally resonant way that it demands your attention. And this causal principle doesn't mean events happen for no reason. It means they don't require linear causation to be connected. Just like music doesn't need one note to cause the next, they coexist in harmony, in pattern. So too do events in your life sometimes arrive together not by force but by form. This is what distinguishes synchronicity from coincidence. Coincidence is passive. Synchronicity carries a signature, a psychic fingerprint. It activates something in you. It lingers. It challenges your understanding of how life works. In Jung's model, these causal events are orchestrated through what he called the psychoid level. a place where mind and matter are not separate, a level of existence where the symbolic and the material converge. And while we no longer use the term psychoid in most modern language, the principle remains: the idea that meaning itself can be a connective tissue in reality. When this is understood, the world begins to look very different. Synchronicity shows us that reality is not built only on logic, but on rhythm, pattern, and emotional resonance. That consciousness is not something you carry inside your skull. It's a participatory force in the world you move through. That your dreams, visions, intuitions, and thoughts don't just stay inside you, they can ripple into the fabric of the world and mirror themselves back as events. And the moment you start noticing, truly noticing, you begin to move differently. You begin to listen to timing, to feel for meaning, to trace the shape of patterns rather than just measure them. You stop seeing reality as a static backdrop, and you begin to see it for what it truly is: a living, breathing, symbolic interface designed to reflect the movements of something deeper. This message was to remind you that synchronicity is a real structure, ancient, intelligent, and embedded into the way reality itself operates. It is not fantasy, it is not projection, it is not superstition, it is intelligence in motion, and it's happening all around you. In the next segment, we'll move beyond the phenomenon and into the mirror. You'll learn why synchronicities don't just happen around you, they happen through you. What they say about your inner world, and how your state of being may be the very signal that sets them in motion. Because now that you've seen the pattern, it's time to realize it's responding to you. Synchronicity doesn't just show you that reality is intelligent. It shows you something more intimate, more radical, that reality is intelligent about you. Because once you understand what synchronicity really is, the next question becomes impossible to ignore. Why does it happen to you, and why now? This is where we move past theory and step into the mirror. Because synchronicity isn't random magic, it's feedback. It's not the universe whispering secrets from above. It's your own state of being echoed back at you through time, symbol, and event. In this way, synchronicity is less about being guided to something and more about being shown what you're already broadcasting. The universe doesn't speak English, it speaks frequency, vibration, coherence. And synchronicity is how it lets you know your current frequency is beginning to crystallize. Imagine this: your thoughts, beliefs, emotions, expectations. All of them form a vibrational signal that you're continuously transmitting into the quantum field. This field, by its nature, responds not to what you want, not to what you say, but to what you are, consistently, emotionally, energetically. And synchronicity is how that field reflects back your signal. It's the moment your internal state leaks into the visible world. It's what happens when your frequency and your environment temporarily synchronize. That's why it feels uncanny. That's why it feels impossible to ignore. Because part of you knows that something internal just matched something external. But here's the part most people miss. Synchronicity doesn't come from outside of you. It's called forth by your current alignment. If your thoughts are scattered, your emotions are inconsistent, and your beliefs are in conflict, the feedback you receive will feel just as foggy or uneventful. But when your mind, emotion, and energy fall into coherence, when they align toward a particular theme, desire, or truth, that's when the field begins to respond with pattern. That's when synchronicity begins. This is why synchronicities tend to cluster. Why you'll go months seeing nothing, and then suddenly, within a day or two, everything clicks. Repeating numbers, timely messages, chance encounters, unexpected clarity. That cluster is not an accident. It's confirmation that your internal system has just stabilized around a frequency strong enough to pull events into orbit. In this sense, synchronicity is not passive, it's participatory. It's not something the universe does to you, it's something it does with you. Let's go deeper. Most people view synchronicity like a wink from the universe, a special moment to be interpreted or decoded. But synchronicity isn't just a symbolic message, it's a measurement. It tells you exactly what frequency you're currently broadcasting. Think of it like sonar. You send out a signal and the environment bounces back a reflection. If the echo comes back fast and clear, you're close to what you're tuning into. If nothing comes back at all, It's not because the universe isn't listening. It's because your signal hasn't stabilized. So when synchronicity strikes, it means your internal alignment has reached the threshold required to collapse distance between you and that possibility. It's a mirror, not of what you're asking for, but of what you're ready to receive. This is why synchronicity can feel so emotionally charged. It hits you on a level deeper than logic. Because it's not meant for your mind, it's confirmation for your vibration. You've probably experienced this. Thinking about a change you want to make, only to immediately see a book, a post, or a conversation that reflects it with stunning accuracy. That's not just support, that's resonance. It means the signal is being received and that the field has already begun restructuring. And this is where things begin to accelerate. The more attention you pay to synchronicity, not in obsession, but in recognition, the more fluent you become in the language of alignment. You start to recognize the subtle ways your inner world shapes your outer experience. You notice when a thought carries energy, when an emotion has gravity, when a belief begins to manifest through patterns. Your sensitivity increases, your awareness sharpens. You start to live as if life is already responding, because it is. You become attuned to the cause beneath the cause, the layer behind the visible. And once you've seen this, you can't unsee it. You stop asking the world to prove itself to you. You begin watching how it mirrors you. This shift is subtle but powerful. It moves you from confusion to clarity, from reaction to reflection. You begin to trust the signal you're sending, and more importantly, you begin to refine it. If synchronicity is the mirror, you begin to ask, what do I want it to reflect? Not in a forceful way, but in a conscious one. You become more deliberate with your thoughts. You become more honest with your emotions. You become more discerning with the stories you tell yourself. Because you know they don't just live in your head, they echo into the field. And the field is always listening. The moment you realize this, your entire relationship with reality shifts. You stop chasing outcomes, and you start refining your presence. Because you understand that synchronicity doesn't respond to effort, it responds to coherence. And coherence is something you can cultivate through stillness, through breath, through integrity, through choosing thoughts that resonate with truth, through feeling emotions fully without becoming them, through clearing internal noise so the signal can stabilize. This is the quiet work of alignment, and its reward is unmistakable. The increase in synchronicity, the shift in pattern, the sense that life is no longer something happening around you, but something unfolding in harmony with you. It becomes art, dialogue, dance, and you begin to trust the process. You begin to know that when something appears, a name, a number, a symbol, a message, it's not just coincidence, it's reflection, it's confirmation, it's reality saying, yes, I received your signal. You're not guessing anymore, you're not hoping, you're witnessing. And this is the truth that changes everything. You are not waiting for a sign, you are becoming the frequency that creates it. Next, we'll explore what to do once you've recognized that frequency. How to read the signs, how to navigate them, and how to shift into timelines that match the coherence you've now begun to build. Because synchronicity isn't the end of the conversation, it's the opening line. And now, it's time to respond. Once you recognize that synchronicity is a mirror, a reflection of your internal alignment, the next question naturally arises. Now what? What do you do with the signs? How do you decode them? And more importantly, how can you use synchronicity as more than just a moment of awe, but as a tool to actively shift into the life you were meant to live? This is where awareness becomes direction, where recognition becomes navigation, because synchronicity isn't just there to confirm your path, it's there to adjust it, refine it, and accelerate it. But first, you must learn how to read it. Not all synchronicities look the same. Some are loud and unmistakable. A stranger says the exact phrase you journaled the night before. A number repeats across phone calls, receipts, street signs, and clocks. You have a vivid dream that plays out the next day. These are obvious, direct, and often emotional. Others are quiet. A gentle echo, a subtle pattern that keeps showing up in your peripheral awareness. The same symbol in different forms. The same song lyrics in different contexts. A certain animal appearing repeatedly, but in different environments. These are not coincidences, they're signals. And the first step in decoding synchronicity is noticing when it appears. Synchronicity often shows up at moments of transition, when you're questioning something, seeking clarity, or silently calling out for alignment. It's responsive, and its timing is part of the message. So ask yourself, what was I thinking about the days, hours, or minutes before it appeared? What was I feeling? What direction was I leaning toward or resisting? Because the synchronicity isn't random, it's linked to your energy in that moment. And the more you reflect on the emotional and mental state you were in just before it happened, the clearer the message becomes. Now let's talk about repetition. When a specific number, symbol, word, or situation repeats, especially within a short time frame, it's not the universe being clever, it's your subconscious becoming louder. It's the energetic field highlighting something you've either suppressed, ignored, or are now finally ready to integrate. For example, seeing the number 222 might not mean the same thing for everyone. For one person, it may signal partnership. For another, it may reflect a moment of peace. The number itself isn't the message. Your resonance with it is. And this is the key to all synchronicity decoding. The meaning is personal. You are the context. What does it bring up for you? What memory, sensation, or insight does it trigger? You don't need a textbook or a spiritual encyclopedia. You need stillness. You need presence. You need to feel your way into the symbolism. Sometimes the message is confirmation. You're on the right path. Keep going. Sometimes it's redirection. You're veering off. Shift. Sometimes it's activation. You're ready for a next level. Step forward. But it's always contextual, always tied to your internal state and the timeline you're walking. Now here's where it gets multidimensional. Synchronicity doesn't just affirm your current alignment, it also pulls at your timeline. It shows you what reality you're brushing up against, what version of the future is drawing near based on your present signal. Think of timelines as frequency bands. Each one holds a different version of you, different experiences, people, opportunities, and outcomes. You shift timelines not by traveling anywhere, but by shifting your frequency. And synchronicity is the ripple that happens when two timelines briefly overlap, when the future you're aligning with begins to echo into the now. So when you see a synchronicity that excites you, expands you, or feels deeply resonant, that's not just a sign. That's a future you brushing up against the present. The mistake most people make is treating synchronicity like a reward. They notice it, feel inspired, and then do nothing. But the point of the sign is action. The synchronicity didn't show up to entertain you. It showed up to recruit you, to invite you into motion, to let you know you're close, keep moving. So what do you do when it appears? You respond. Not with obsession, not with superstition, but with clarity. You look at the message, the symbol, the number, the timing, and you ask, what step is this pointing me toward? Sometimes the answer is energetic, to shift your focus, release fear, or align your thoughts with what you truly want. Sometimes it's practical, to send the email, take the leap, walk through the door that just opened. Always, it's invitational. The more consistently you respond to synchronicity with aligned action, the more the signs increase. Because now the field knows you're listening, you're engaging, you're shaping. This is how synchronicity becomes a tool for shifting timelines. It's not passive reflection anymore, it's co-creation. You recognize the pattern, you respond to it, and the simulation updates accordingly. This is how people quantum leap, not through force, but through resonance, by matching the version of reality they want to live in and allowing synchronicity to confirm, calibrate, and guide them toward it. Let's go further. If you find yourself surrounded by confusing, conflicting, or even painful synchronicities, don't panic. This too is feedback. It means the signal you're sending is inconsistent or based in a split identity. Part of you is asking for expansion. Another part is holding fear. The signs will reflect both. So the answer isn't to chase better signs, it's to stabilize your frequency. Get honest. What are you believing when no one's watching? What emotions are looping beneath the surface of your affirmations? What stories are you secretly still carrying? Clear those, harmonize those, and watch the synchronicities reorganize. Because the universe isn't judging you, it's just reflecting you. And the moment your internal state changes, so do the signs. This process is ongoing. As long as you live in this world, you are living inside a feedback field, and synchronicity is its most elegant interface. You don't need to control it, you need to respect it, you need to listen. And when you do, really listen, life begins to feel guided without the need for force. It begins to feel meaningful, even in the chaos, because now you know that the pattern is real, the mirror is active, and your alignment is the message. So next time you see the number, next time you hear the phrase, next time the symbol appears again, pause. Don't rush past it, don't overanalyze it, and don't ignore it. Ask, what was I thinking about recently? What was I feeling? What timeline does this reflect? And what would the version of me who fully believes this do next? Then move. Not to force the outcome, but to affirm the signal, because the signal is how you shift. And every time you respond from alignment, you're choosing a timeline. Every time you act from resonance, you're collapsing distance between who you are and who you're becoming. And eventually, you won't need the signs to know. You'll be so attuned, so embodied, so consistent, that your life is the sign. Synchronicity will no longer be a rare event. It will be your normal. The universe isn't hiding the path, it's echoing it. And now that you've seen the pattern, your job is to walk it. Declare your resonance in the comments. Own the timeline you're shifting into. Let the field know, I'm listening, I'm responding, I'm ready. Because this wasn't just a video, it was a mirror, and you're the one who made it appear.